forever and ever. So there's some things there in verse 8 you'll see. It says, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. Now notice verses 7 and verse 8 go together. In verse 7, you see that he wants you to see something. He says to behold. He's saying, let me get your attention. And when I get your attention, I want you to know that he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also, which pierced him, all kinds of kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, amen. So he's telling you, he's coming back. And when he comes back, it doesn't matter where you stand now. For those of you who stand here today, on this April day that's a little cool outside, the fact is, you can tell me today that you are a believer, or you can tell me that you do not believe. But according to verse 7, someday, all shall believe.
Yes.
So you get to choose whether you're going to believe now, or whether you're going to believe later, but at some point you shall believe. And once you believe, at that particular time, there is going to be a particular feeling associated with your belief. See, if you don't believe now, later you will believe, but you will cry and wail because you missed it today. Yeah, this is the kind of sale that when it's over, you're sad because you missed it. Because you don't have another opportunity. There are no rain checks. You don't get to say, Lord, could I put this belief in well way, and I'm going to come back and get it after you return. He said, no. Later on, you will realize that you needed him, that you needed this belief, that you needed the faith, that you needed to be in his presence, and after a while, it'll be too late. And so, he's telling us, behold, he shall come. But then, as he comes, there is a word that comes from heaven, and this word, for those of you who have the red letter edition, you realize that John is speaking, and he is telling you, and he is trying to help you to recognize that a day shall come when all of us will have to believe and humble ourselves before the throne.
Yes.
But then a voice comes. Christ, the voice of Christ speaks. This is what he says about himself. He says, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. Now let me tell you something. Reverend Haynes and Deacon Palmer are better Greek scholars than I am. And so they can pronounce the words, they know all of the letters, and they can say the alphabet and all of this kind of stuff. These folks, they're smart. You know, I realize that I have some limitations. And so people talk to me and they say, where are you from? Because if you can break the language, I can break it. I know what the word means, but I don't always pronounce it right. But that's okay, because I understand the deep meaning, okay? So let's not use this Greek, because, you know, I know what it means, even though I know Reverend Haynes will pronounce it different, because I know it's not alpha. Alpha. A-L-F-A. Alpha is the way I pronounce it. But really what this means, it is A and Z. It is the first letter and the last letter. It is the first letter and the last letter. Now guess what? When he says that he is the first letter and the last letter, that means that he is everything.
Yes.
See, if you told your kids, if you said to your example, I'm going to teach you your ABCs, and they said, okay, I think I know them. And you say, well, go ahead and say them to me. And little Johnny says, B, C,
That's right.
B, C, D, E, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. You would say, wait a minute. You don't know your alphabet. Because how can you start the alphabet without the A? How can you end without the Z? So in order to fully grasp the alphabet, one must start at the beginning and end at the end. I wish you could see where I'm going here. What I'm saying is the stuff in between there doesn't make any difference if you don't know how to start and how to finish. See, there's some of us who don't understand the importance of a good start and a good finish.
Come on.
See, you're going to have some bad days in between. You're going to have some detours sometimes, but your start and your finish is what's important. See, you will never get anywhere in life if you don't start.
Come on now.
See, whatever trip you intend to make, then you've got to make a start. But if you're still laying in bed, I don't feel like getting up, I'm lazy about life, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, I'm procrastinating, I'm going to start that business tomorrow, I'm going to go back to school tomorrow, I'm going to finally give my life to God tomorrow. Oh, he can go for the next Sunday. You know, right now I'm just going to stay here and play the PlayStation. I'm going to look at the TV, I'm going to watch the reality shows or whatever. I'm not getting out of bed. So you don't know how to start. I'm going to go back to school next year. You don't know how to start. I'm going to start taking the family to church next week. You don't know how to start. So see, your start has to take place before you can ever get into everything else. See, there's some people who want to talk about E and F and G and H and all of that, but they never started with A.
Come on now. It's good.
Not knowing how to start can destroy something. Not knowing where to start in the instructional pattern can destroy some things in your life. If you're putting together a bookshelf, Brother Jay, I've been there, you know, trying to do it without the instructions. You start at number 5 and skip numbers 1 through 4, and that bookshelf won't look so good. Some of us are always trying to go past the first step, but it takes a first step in order to get to the next step. Not only that, you can't stop in the middle. See, Brother Mo, when you get started, you also got to finish. And so sometimes we want to get started, but then we don't want to finish. We want to leave everything undone. But let me tell you something. This race is one that needs to be finished. Just because you joined the church 60 years ago, or just because you got your name on the roll, you know, and you came to church and you once was this and you once was an usher and all of that kind of thing. You know what? I heard an old man say one time, I done got too old to mess up now. Been in church all them years and now you're messing up. And so you started, but you don't know how to finish. You're cussing people out now because they got a little hole in your backache. You better ask God to help you to finish this thing, because just starting it is not enough. You need to know how to start and how to finish. And the way to start and finish is to stay focused on the one who is the starter and the finisher of everything. And so he comes forward. He says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. He's been here and he shall return. Let me tell you some things that he came to show us about eternity. Here's what he came to show us. Look at verse 8. He says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning. He came to let us know that he is the past. Everything in the past is based on him. Everything that's behind you is based on him. Now some people say, oh, I don't need the past. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Sometimes we want to forget the past, but you know what? We need the past. We need the past. You know, Sister Wesley, the past helps us to understand how to chart our future course. While we were gone on our expedition, if you will, part vacation, part historical analysis, and so on and so forth, we stopped in a place called Williamsburg, and we left there and we went to help me, Brittany, where were the boats? Ships. What town was that? Jamestown, thank you. Went to Jamestown. We got to Jamestown, and out there in Jamestown they had these ships out on the water. And I learned something that I never knew, which I love learning, so every day you try to find something new. And so we got on the ship, and when we got on the ship, they were dressed up in their old clothes, you know, like they were back in the 1800s, 1700s, or whatever. And so they're out there, and they showed us these ships, and so we're out there on the ship, we go down in the ship, we come up on the ship, And finally we get to the captain's quarters below, and directly above we find out where they steer the ship and how they get the ship to go where they want it to go and what the way they do it. And I was amazed at some of the stuff they were doing. I mean, back in 1785, 1775, in those days, you would think that they, just kind of got on a ship and Christopher Columbus just kind of going around. History says that he didn't exactly get where he was trying to go, but he got pretty close. And if you think about it, that's pretty good. And don't shoot me down, let me help you. Do you know that right now in 2016, we still have planes going down? 2015, we lost a major plane. One plane they still saying they can't find it. So if you think that back in 1700 and 1400 and all of that kind of thing, they could almost get to where they were trying to get to, don't talk them down, because we can barely get to where we're trying to get to, okay? So anyway, I was amazed at the way that they got to where they were going. So up on the top, they had a few different instruments, and I was amazed by this because they had an hourglass. And this hourglass could tell time for them. They had a half-hour glass so that they could tell time, the sand falling in the glass. Then they had a compass. And the compass would, tell them what direction they were going in. And then they had a chart, and basically what they would do is they would chart. Every hour they would chart the direction they were going in based on the compass. So they would chart the time and the direction so they know, where they were going. Then they had this board hooked to a rope that was wrapped around a cable, and they said they would throw this out in the water, and it had knots tied in the rope. And they would throw this out in the water. The drag would pull the cord out, and they would turn the time over, and they would find out how many of the knots would go off of the roll of the rope in a certain amount of time. Then they would pull it back in, they would count the knots, and then that's how they know how fast they were going. So that's why today when we record the speed of a ship, you say it's going so many knots. See, I'm teaching something David already knows. And so we would say this is how many knots that it's going, because they would count those that are going. So they had these instruments that they were using. Well, me, the preacher in me, is not thinking sailor, because I'm not a sailor. I'm thinking, well, how does this relate to my spiritual journey? And so as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, well, what? Every single Christian needs a compass. You need a compass. And when Jesus left here, he said, I leave with you the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, so that it might, be in you and remind you of the things that I've said. And so we all need a compass. The Word of God is part of that compass. The Holy Spirit is part of that compass. We need a compass to point us in the right direction. But not only do you need a compass, you need a chart. See, the past is important, because without the past, they could never have gotten where they were going. See, the past told them where they had been. The past told them how fast they were going. The past told them how the wind had changed them. Sometimes you need a compass, but let me be clear about this, because somebody's going to say, well, Pastor, why don't we have testimony service? It's because some people chart the wrong course. See, you need to chart the course, but you need to be honest in charting the course in order to know where you're going. In other words, what I'm saying to you, the fact that you have been a pimp or a prostitute, the fact that you've been an alcoholic, the fact that you've been strung out on different types of drugs, whether it was heroin or crack or cocaine, the fact that you've been a loose person because maybe you weren't a pimp or a prostitute, you might have just been giving it away, you just homeless. The fact that you've been a thief and that you stole everything and don't nobody want you to come around because they're watching you around their purse. The fact that you have had all kinds of troubles, that you are a liar and that you tell a lie every time it comes out of your mouth. The fact that you've been there before, you need to be able to chart that course in order to turn around from that course.
Amen.
And so we always want to make things sound pretty and it looks delicious and all of that. No, I'm a sinner that needs to be set free.
Amen.
We need to fess up to the past first.
Yeah.
Because you can't change until you fess up to the past. As long as you thinking you beautiful, you don't know you need no weed.
That's right.
decide. You got to realize, you thinking you're doing good, and you still walking. You thinking you're doing good because you actually got a pot to put under the drip that's coming through your ceiling. Come on. At some point in time, you got to be honest enough to look at your past and realize that your life has been a wreck.
Yes.
And so he has come to show us that we need him. When the children of Israel were in bondage and God came and sent Moses to go and tell Pharaoh, let my people go, could you imagine what we don't want to be free. What Negro in here wants to go back to a cabin, a piece of fat back, some cabbage and some corn given to you every week, and some lashes across your back if you don't make it to the cotton field in time? That's the past. I don't want to go back there. See, to forget the past is to negate your future. Our testimony is based on our past. And we ought to be glad that we're no longer whatever it is we used to be. And so we ought to be glad that he came to deliver us, but let's not get it twisted. Your past does not have power without the presence of God. So your past, whatever it was, he says, I am the one which was. In other words, I saved you.
Yeah.
But he didn't just come to show us eternity in the past, because your past isn't going to be erased, honey. Your past is not counted against you because of his grace and mercy, but it's still there, and it's there forever. It is only because of him that it does not affect you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amen.
Just because you had a chapter 13 or just because you had a bankruptcy didn't mean that, they corrected everything and now, you used to be broke, Negro. and they stopped the creditors from calling you because they said you don't have anything. Every single person in this room came into this world broke. Spiritually broken. We had nothing, and it was only because he came and delivered us that the devil is still not knocking at your door trying to collect the debt that he feels that you owe. And so he comes in verse 8, he says, I am the beginning and the ending, which is and which was. Which was is our past, but then he says which is, that's our present. He came to show us eternity in the past. He came to show us the eternity in the present. And so what you are doing right now today is going to affect your forever. Brother Jay, whatever it is we're doing today, it's going to affect tomorrow and the next day. See, some people say, oh, tomorrow never comes. Well, guess what? Today is yesterday's tomorrow. So it came. The question is, what are you doing with it? How are you seizing the moment? What are we doing about today? Today counts. Today matters. What we're doing right now, how we will respond to the message and to the sermon and to the word, all of that matters. It matters what you're doing with your life right now. This is not just passing time. What you're doing is important. As a matter of fact, it's not just important. There ought to be a kind of urgency about life. Brother Mason, because he's been here and he shall return.
Yes.
And because he shall return, we should be acting and working as if he shall come back at any moment.
Amen.
Every moment, every second of our life should be maximized. Everything that we're doing. Because you know what? If you continue to sit there and sit in the mess of a life that you've continued to live in, ultimately he's going to come back. And will you be ready when he comes back?
Come on, preach that.
Because he's coming back. If you really truly believe that he's coming back, then how can we sit and just wait and do nothing? Because when he's coming back, when he gets back, the question is, what have you done? Your today matters. How you're preparing yourself and your family and your children today matters. Your today matters. Ask yourself the question, what did you yesterday look like? And the day before that, are you in a rut? Are you still doing the same thing over and over again? And thinking that somehow, like Lucky Charms, magically delicious, you're going to end up somewhere else doing something great by doing nothing with your present? He says, I'm here today. Here today. What do you choose to do today? What do we choose to do today? Are we going to actually decide to do something, or are we continue to rest? He's come to show us that I'm not only yesterday, but I'm today. Look at the life of Christ. If you really, truly are a Christian, let me ask you. I can only find one time in the scriptures. Now I know that he was human, so therefore he must have probably slept every day. But it wasn't significant. Because, Sister Brooks, how many times in the scriptures do we find him asleep? We only find him asleep one time. Otherwise, he was up. Now, the scriptures let us know that he was kind of tired at times. But you know what? Jesus was a working brother. You read the Gospels and you see Jesus was a non-stop kind of, he even worked when he was off the clock, so to speak. Even when it was his time to go off, be by himself, and have some rest time, people bothered him and he still responded. We don't want to call nobody back and we got a cell phone in our pocket. And you know what? Yeah, I'm talking about you because you know some of y'all, I'm talking about some of y'all. It's not just one of y'all, some of y'all, because I've heard this more than once. Some of y'all got the nerve to scream your calls at work. Don't laugh too loud because they know it's you. Some of y'all got the nerve to scream calls at work. How in the world, Brother Wesley, do you scream calls at work? I thought that was the whole point of being at work.
Right.
Somebody paying you to answer your phone, to respond to what's going on. Oh, Pastor, I didn't answer your call because your phone came up unlisted. And shoot, didn't I call your desk phone? Yeah, but I saw it come up unlisted. And see, them people that call my office unlisted. You at work. And so we have to make sure that we're managing and that we're thinking about today. Today matters. What you're doing with your day, what you're doing with your time, how you're doing your life today, it matters. Don't put it off. Because the Lord someday shall return. And by the way, y'all that don't answer the phone, you need to answer. Because one day quality control gonna find out that y'all not answering the phone.